Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Cap at Home, our 12 o'clock edition. I'm Miss Gabby. I'm hanging out with you guys today, and we're going to be creating something super awesome. We actually are going to be looking at an artist and creating some flowers inspired by him, and his name is Andy Warhol. And he was known as like for being like a pop artist and creating like some really awesome paintings and like screen prints using like a wide variety of colors and like bright, vibrant colors. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And what's awesome with what we're doing today is we're just using some like household stuff to like kind of help us out in creating these things. So let us get started and let me show you what we're going to need today. So you can see here that we are, I have like this is one of his actual these are his like flowers that we're going to be using and being inspired by today, which you can see that there's loads of different colors and it's all super vibrant and awesome. So that's what we're going to be doing. So you see mine today a little bit different because what we're doing with ours today is we're going to be using a bell pepper to help us kind of make the shapes of our flowers. And definitely we'll need an adult to help us cut the pepper today. And, that's why we kind of have this started off. So we're going to need definitely some paper. I have some white paper with me. I also have some different colored paper because Andy Warhol was super known for kind of using like a wide variety of different things and colors. So I just picked some different kinds of paper. I have white, green, and orange here. And we're definitely going to need a bell pepper today. So we have our awesome bell pepper. And if you have a different color bell pepper, that's cool too. I only have green, that's like half green and half yellow, and that's like okay too. We're going to need some paint today, and we're going to need some paper plates to put our paint on. So I have my black paint already on here for us, and for another plate I have other colors that we're going to need. We're also going to need a paintbrush and a water cup today. You see I have actually two different sizes, so I just want to cover some good ground. And you see that I'm working on top of this here. This is my painting board, and I do have some paper towel off to the side for me today. So we are going to need someone to help cut the bell pepper for us today, which I already went ahead to do that. So if you have an adult, or a guardian, that's what we're going to need. So I already cut mine off, and you want to cut it at a good angle here, so we kind of have this nice grip so your hand can kind of fit nicely on this, because what the bell pepper is kind of cutting the shape so you can kind of see the outline of our bell pepper is going to help us create these awesome flowers like Andy Warhol created. So you see, like, what I want to do next is I'm going to just go ahead and pick out this insides. So I'm going to just take it to the garbage, and I just picked it out, to get the insides out, just so we're going to have a nice empty middle when we're creating our stamp. So I don't know if anyone has looked up Andy Warhol or anything like that, but Andy Warhol was such a character and was just really known for creating such, wonderful things and using a lot of repetition, which is what we're going to be using today because we're going to try and make multiple flowers. But he loved repetition and kind of keeping things the same. He even had 25 cats, and he all had them the same name, and they were named Sam, which I think is like really funny and really interesting. But he was really cool because he also even had like a variety of wigs, and he always wore like the same wigs. So what we want to do is I'm going to start off with my piece of paper here. Let me turn this around for us so we can see. And I'm going to put my black paint right here. And so since we already cut our bell pepper, what we want to do next is we're going to just kind of start to dip the bell pepper. If you can see, some seeds came out, that's okay. So you see I'm getting a nice amount of paint on the outside of our bell pepper. So you can kind of see I'm dipping it, making sure I'm coating the sides really well. You can kind of see how I'm working there. And you see that. So this is great because we're using this bell pepper pretty awesomely as a stamp. And so what we're going to do is going to place it face down. I'm going to figure out, and I'm going to put a nice little bit of pressure. You see it's nice. I'm going to kind of press on it a little bit here, and then I'm going to go ahead and just lift. So you see, that's awesome. That's what's amazing is we're creating a stamp, like a flower shape with our bell pepper. So I'm gonna just go ahead and take some more because I want to create a couple. So like if you saw the example, you know, Andy Warhol always created, you know, kind of multiple of the same thing. And he was actually really known for painting a lot of like Campbell's soup cans. You know, that's because he ate that for lunch every day. So that's actually some of his most famous art pieces is, you know, stuff with like soup cans or, you know, things like that. And that's what pop art is really about, is kind of creating art about, you know, just like everyday kind of objects. So, you know, like that's what we're doing is we're creating some awesome pop art with some awesome flowers. So, you know, you can keep them in line, or if you want to look at how, you know, he used his, oh, I'm just trying to grab this. You can kind of see how, like, maybe we want to be a little bit sporadic and put them in different places. So I'm just going to flip my bell pepper around and place it on that side. You know, so it's going to be a different kind of shape and a different angle. But what we're doing is being like repetitive with our shape. And that's what's going to be really unique and awesome to like what we're doing. So you see, I kind of just put some more on. I'm going to take it again, put a nice little bit of pressure. So you see that I'm, you know, being delicate with everything, making sure I'm not getting paint everywhere, you know, and it's important too because we want to keep like a clean space, especially for when we're working and working with so much paint. And what's great about this is it's an awesome process because, you know, we can kind of plan out and see how we're doing everything, but you see that we're going to need to let it dry. So now here, voila. So that's our awesome bell pepper helped us create these awesome flowers. And what's awesome about it is we're gonna let it dry, and then we can start thinking about our colors. So we want to pick some nice, like awesome, vibrant colors and maybe use a wide variety. And, you know, that's what we're going to be thinking about. So I'm going to put this off to the side for us because we're going to let this dry. We can let it dry in the sun. It is an awesome sunny day today. The sun is, you know, nice and warm. It helps kind of dry things a little bit faster. So I'm just going to put that off to the side. And thankfully I created some, you know, awesome bell pepper shapes beforehand so I can be nice and prepped to show you, you know, how we can create. So here I did some different things. Here I left it so I, you know, made it a nice a little bit more bold here, and I'm using this red piece of paper. And like Andy Warhol used so many different kinds of things, you know, so that's what I wanted to do and give us that option to do that too. And you can kind of see here, he also like showed the grass. So if we want to think of a different way that we can kind of incorporate some different layers into it, like what's like a fun way to do grass, or if we can just paint that, you know, that's what we can do. And what's awesome about Andy Warhol and the things that he creates is like none of the things are the same. So that's what's amazing about our bell pepper and how we can create, is that none of it will be the same. So what I want to do here is I'm going to take my paintbrush, and if it was in the water, I just want to wipe off the excess water. And, you know, I kind of want to use my bright orange. So I'm just going to take my brush here and dip it into my orange here. And I'm going to just go ahead and start to create and paint on the inside of our bell pepper here. So I'm going like this, you know. So we want to make sure it's nice and dry before we start painting. And I'm just kind of going, and it's all right if you go on the outside of the you know, the pepper. We could even go back if we really wanted to and create, you know, a bolder, you know, line for our, like the outside of our flower. So you see, I'm going to create, I think, a few of them. And see, this one didn't show up as well, and that's okay. And that's, you know, kind of what's amazing about, you know, the work that Andy Warhol creates is none of it's the same. And it's really nice, and none of it has to be super perfect. And that's what's like amazing about painting and art, is that we can use all of this to our advantage and kind of create. But yeah, so Andy Warhol actually, you know, he did a lot of other things. He also didn't just paint, but he also did draw. And like I said, he did a lot of screen printing, and that's what he was actually most famous for, was, you know, printing through screens. So not just painting, but all of that was like inspiration to him. And, you know, that's what can be inspiring for you too. I would definitely recommend like asking like a parent or something to, think about or ask if we can kind of go and adventure out to the internet and maybe look at some of the other artworks he done. So now I'm going to change this one up and I'm going to add just a little bit of white to kind of create a nice, more, a different kind of hue of orange, a little shade, a little bit different, kind of add a little bit. So there. So you see how I added that? So there's our flowers. And I'm going to put this one off to the side so it can dry a little bit because I want to put some finishing touches on it too. So you see here, and even if you want to go ahead and start thinking about making more flowers, you can even add more, kind of layering them up. You know, it doesn't have to be only 4 flowers on a page or just 2 here like you can see. So I'm going to clean my brush off in my little water glass here. You see how that orange is coming off? And I'm just like rubbing it on my paper towel. And I'm gonna just go here. But you can see a lot of the extra, things and kind of information I wrote about Andy Warhol in the description, or, I was just telling you about so many things. He honestly has created so many things. He also even had his own art studio that he called The Factory because he just like produced so many different things all the time. So that's what he just wanted to do. So now I'm going to take this yellow and I'm going to just kind of go with my yellow on my red. So, you can kind of make complementary colors or, play with different kinds or just mash them all up. But you want to kind of even play around with the colors and see how they're going. And kind of thinking about how you want to lay out. And, sometimes you don't even need a plan. Like here, the only plan that we have is we made the flower shapes using our bell pepper. So you see, maybe I want to just not get some of that paintbrush texture in there. That's cool too. But maybe I want to do a different color. Maybe I do want to do all these, maybe just primary colors. So I'm going to maybe dab some of my blue into my other flower. So I'm going to wash my paintbrush really well, really well in my water cup. Make sure all of that yellow comes off. And I have my paper towel here. I'm just going to wipe it off. And I'm going to, go into my blue. It's really important to make sure when you are switching colors that you are washing your brush entirely, just so, because you don't want to accidentally get, a different color into your project, because maybe that won't be so awesome and maybe you'll be a little upset. So we just want to, as we're working, really respect and pay attention to our process. So I'm just taking my time using this big brush. Here we are. Awesome. Oh my goodness, I love these colors. They look so good. Okay, so now basically our last and final step to completing our flowers is we want to just add, the middle inside to kind of give it that effect. So you see in all of these, we can, you add a little bit of different one, and you can just take like a smaller paintbrush into your black, and kind of add just like a dot. And what's awesome is you can make the dot as big or as small as you want. You can make them a little larger here, but I don't want to move too much just because this is still wet. It is important that you do let it dry fully before you do any of that kind of thing. So I'm going to go back to my original ones, my orange ones here. So I really love it because you can kind of see I'm going to lay it all out and how amazing my flowers look. And it's all thanks to an awesome bell pepper. So if you have a bell pepper, that's amazing. So this one kind of dried a little bit more. So I'm going to take my black here and kind of go a little, I just have to be totally a perfect circle, but I'm going to go like that. They can be a little bigger. So maybe if you see that you didn't get enough black paint around the edges here, you can go back, and take a smaller brush. And if you wanted to add some more, so you could actually really see the outline of that, but I don't really mind a lot of it. I'm going to just leave kind of it how it looks. You can kind of see, it gives it almost like a really nice texture, a nice like flowery texture. So you can kind of see that here. I'm going to put this off to the side to continue to dry. So maybe in this one, if you want to add something really cool, like, like some grass or maybe like a leaf, I have some awesome green color here. Just kind of, maybe if I want to just add some stripes with my paintbrush here, you can kind of see I'm adding, just like in Andy Warhol's painting, some awesome stripes of green. And he, because it's pop art, used a very neon green. So, you know, we can, you know, figure out how we can make our neon green and use that. But I have this green today, and that's what I want to use. So I just want to make a few little strips here and there to represent our grass. And put that here. So you can kind of see I'm just dotting across here, adding it. It's always fun to do sound effects when you're painting, making your stripes. But yes, what's awesome is it's not perfect, and that's what's amazing about it, and it looks exactly how I want it to look. So here we have our awesome flowers. Thanks for Andy Warhol inspiring us today and using our paints. You know, we can even use, just like I have this one here, and it's not dry entirely, but just one, you know, I just had it here on my yellow one, my yellow board, or my yellow paper, I should say. And, you know, I want to even make maybe my yellow one here with some green. So I'm going to make a green flower. So that's what's amazing. And if you have so much paper or any other scraps of paper, and if your bell pepper can fit on there, we can make flowers all over. So you see, I'm just going to make flowers everywhere. And if you're thinking maybe, oh, you know what, maybe I want to add, you know, more flowers. So here's like one of my original pieces. What's awesome is once your papers are fully dry, I can add another layer of flowers. So that's what I'm going to do. You know, and that's kind of, I think, what Andy Warhol maybe would inspire us to do, is to create some more flowers. So I'm going to just add, you know, an extra bunch here. Just add some there. Oh, and you see I got some paint right here. That's why we have some paper towel on the side. So you see I'm putting some pressure down. But yeah, so I'm creating just a nice line right through that middle there. So you can kind of see how I started. So I'm just gonna right away see that paint that I accidentally got on my board. I'm gonna just wipe that up just because we're continuing to work. So if that happens, you know, you can just wipe that up with some paper towel. You know, and right away you can think about, you know, what color could I add? You know, I already have some nice like white or like pastel yellow, you know, a lighter blue, a darker blue, you know, like red might be really nice to kind of add into here, or, you know, or a green, or, you know, continuing with the blue. But definitely we want to wait until this dries. So that's another way to do it, is you can just kind of add some more layers to it and keep repeating with your bell pepper because it's super important. So once that is all dry, you have some awesome, awesome flowers. So you see we kind of went all over the place with colored paper, different colors, our bell pepper, you know, and like our black, you know, helping us kind of do the outline of our awesome flowers. And it's actually really, like, I'm going to end with a quote from Andy Warhol, actually. When you do something exactly wrong, you always turn up something. So it's amazing because if you do mess up or anything, that's how I take it. It's always going to turn out into something really extraordinary and really beautiful, and something that you can be super proud of or give as a gift to somebody. So it's always fun to just continue to play around, even if it's not turning out how you like. You just keep going because that's important. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me today and creating some pop art. You know, now we're gonna definitely clean up. So, you know, this is all it needs to dry. So I wanna make sure I'm gonna put it somewhere where nothing can touch it and I won't accidentally touch it, because, you know, we don't wanna put any paint or anything on our clothes. So putting it all off to the side, and you know, if we did, like, you saw how I got paint on here right away, like I just wiped it up with some paper towel. If you have some wipes, it's important. And we definitely always want to clean our brushes, you know, at the end of our painting endeavor. So we just want to go and use our soap and into our brushes to really kind of clean that up. And so we definitely don't want to eat this bell pepper anymore because it has paint on it. So we want to make sure that we're gonna, you know, right when we're done and we're making sure that we're not going to use it anymore, we're going to just toss that right into the trash. And if you have another bell pepper, like this one I didn't cut, I'm going to save this definitely. But you know, everything else, if you have extra paint, you want to save some, you can put it back into the bottle, or you know, use it on some projects until you're definitely done. But I'm going to just go ahead and you know, put this all right into the trash because I won't need it anymore. So yeah, because it's very important to start and finish, like, or finish just how we started, which is nice and clean. So you see here, like, I can put my board away, and I'm gonna take this right to the sink to wash. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for creating some awesome pop art with me and learning a little bit about Andy Warhol. Definitely look at more of his work because he's really known for so many different things, and it's really fun to look at because he's a very vibrant artist and you know, a pop artist. So thanks for hanging out with me today. Stay tuned for the rest of Cap at Home today for Thursday. We got some really awesome projects lined up, so stay tuned. I'm super excited to see this, making some art with some scrap food. So it's actually going awesome in line with what I'm doing today with our bell pepper. So stay tuned and see you later.